Morning, everybody. How we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. What day is it? Wednesday. We're here to talk about Alvaro Fernandez to Benfica. We're going to speak about Manchester United's new training ground. Some reports from the Daily Mail, a little conversation around that, which I think is going to be quite an interesting one. Some more conversations around INEOS, the changes that is going to be coming from Dave Brailsford. We're going to be speaking about, is it Lenny Yoro as well from Lens? No, from Lille, sorry. A centre-back we're getting linked with, and I tell you what, everyone's getting linked with him. He seems to be one of the hot prospects. We're going to speak about a little bit more on Matthijs de Ligt, not too much when it comes to January transfers, which isn't really much of a surprise. There's been absolutely sweet FA when it comes to genuine transfers. I've got the big hoodie out today. It's cold as hell out there. Jeez. Who's here from the member gang? Let's have a quick look. Stephen watching from a very snowy Halifax in West Yorkshire. Well, I don't think it's snowing here. Well, it's freezing. It's freezing. Asan, good morning to you. We've got Miles. We've got Ant. Josh, you can see there as well. We've got Saeed, Daniel, Poz, Ryan, Gungshi. How you doing, man? As always. James, Andrew, Rogerio. We've got Neil, Stephanie, and Philip. Good morning to all of you. Who's on Facebook? Let's have a quick look. We've got Jeffrey. We've got John Mort. We've got Danny Eames, Wayne Richardson, and we've got Siraj Singh and plenty more of you. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I really need to. It's really annoying. I want to turn the heating on in here, but if I turn the heating on in here, it turns the heating on in the bedroom and both bathrooms as well. Come on, Dad. You got to help me out, sort me out, hook me up with some sort of isolated. That's not going to happen. It'll be nice if I could turn the heating on in here, not everywhere else. It's a problem. First world problem for sure. Now, as I always like to do, I'm going to start the show with just if there's any sort of talking points in and around football rather than just United, I'd like to pick up on them. And this one here, Jordan Henderson is such a prick. Sorry to sort of swear and all that. What an absolute dick. Any sort of morals or anything that he built or any sort of standpoint there, he just ignored all of that. And go, you know what? Moniz. Let me chase the monies. He chased it. He went there. He got the money. And after 6 months, he's gone, oh, actually, don't like it. Oh, no, I don't like it. And now he's going to Ajax. Just, mate, you've already made your bed. You've already ripped up the other bed. At least stay in it. Zero staying power. Just an absolute. And again, it's because it's something that I probably didn't do a good job at it. I'll be completely honest, but I tried to hide my disdain towards a Qatari takeover of Manchester United because I understood that it could happen, and I tried to open my mind to it. But really, there is a part of me which is so fundamentally against anything to do with any Middle Eastern state taking over a Premier League team, a Saudi Arabia starting a league and paying bang average footballers hundreds of thousands a week simply to boost the image of Saudi Arabia ahead of them having the World Cup in 2034. And Henderson was one of those. And nobody should ever let him forget that either. Right? Although, funny thing is, he's going to go Ajax now, so we'll probably get linked with move for him next summer. Yeah, just never forget what he did. Oh, look at that. My voice went well high there. Gungshi and Dean, you just gifted 5 membership seats. 10 more. I was speaking to, I went to London yesterday. Let me quickly pull up a photo of this, right? Before I pull up the gong, I want to pull this out. Let me get a different photo up. 1 second here. Should have got this ready beforehand, but standard. I just forget sometimes. Right. 1 second here. There we go. Let's pull that bad boy up. So, yesterday, I went to Spotify Studios and recorded an episode of The Ripple Effect with my good mate, James. Known James for a long time now. It's pretty awesome to see what he's done since we worked together. And what I've done as well, and what we're doing here with United People's TV, and that's kind of what I'm saying here. A little one for Gungshi, little one for Dean. Big up to both of you. But I was sort of explaining what United People's TV is to him and what the community is, and it's it just makes you realize how special it is what we've done here and what we've built here. And look, like we've literally built an entire studio here off the back of it. It's awesome. And yeah, so that podcast is going. I'll be honest. You know what I realized doing that podcast? That was the first time in, I can't tell you how long it was. That was the first time in what feels like years where I was getting asked questions rather than me being the host. James was the host, and sort of I could actually sort of think about and articulate my answers a bit more. So it's like about an hour and a half chat about the ownership and lots of things and kind of questions and talking points that I haven't really covered here. So you might enjoy it. So make sure you go over to The Ripple Effect when that goes live on Spotify and have a little listen. Have a watch as well if you want. But yeah, not Dean Henderson. I don't particularly like Dean Henderson, but he ain't that bad. Jordan Henderson, however, melt of the highest order. I hope he gets hit with some sort of mega tax bill and just none of the money comes to him. That'd be a nice little end into that. Rogerio, time to invite Ratcliffe for a Q&A. You know, I'm hopeful not of getting Ratcliffe on for a Q&A, right? I'm hopeful. Let me bring that mic forward a little bit there. So I'm actually got it in my front of my face. That's better. I'm hopeful that all the work that we've done here on United People's TV as a community and will continue to do, I hope that we can get some sort of link to INEOS and maybe get some access. Maybe do get some interviews, because I think this platform deserves it in terms of the community we built and the type of content we do. So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see how that develops, but that'll be really, really cool. I don't think we'll get Ratcliffe on for a Q&A, but imagine we got, I don't know, Brailsford or Blanc or someone like that. That'd be wicked. That'd be incredible. Watch his space. Miles is out, I believe today, actually. I believe today. Unfortunate commiserations to the under-18s yesterday. Anybody get to watch that game? FA Youth Cup against Swindon. And the under-18s have been absolutely crushing it this season in the league. So there was a massive expectation going into that game against Swindon. No offense to Swindon. But an expectation of United to do well. And they really, really struggled. Really struggled. Lost 2-0. It was kind of you can't put it down to a bobbly pitch. It wasn't just that. It's just the under-18s just didn't really flow very well. So they are not going to win the FA Youth Cup this year. They're obviously storming it in the league, and that will be their main focus. But they'll definitely be bitterly disappointed at that. And because I've been going on, I've sort of been explaining how Man United's under-18s feels like the best crop that we've had in a long time. Jack Fletcher, like Amas, I was watching him. He was really good yesterday. But yeah, commiserations to them. Unlucky. Man United found out yesterday, by the way, who we've got in the FA Cup fourth round. We've got Newport. So a little trip to South Wales for United. What is it, the 24th of Jan? No, not 24th. 28th, something like that. Not this Sunday, the Sunday after, whatever that date is. That's when United are going to be playing Newport County. And again, United will be massively heavy favourites. I feel a little bit sorry for Newport County, but I don't, because they'll enjoy the occasion. But that's going to be a game where we will see Alessandro Martinez make his first start for a long time. We will probably see Casemiro make his first start. We will, I don't know who else we might see. We might see the return of Harry Maguire. We might see the return of Mason Mount. 28th, there you go. 28th so Sunday 28th is when we play Newport. Live on BBC, I think it is. Doesn't really matter what it is. But I'm looking forward to that game. As I said, I feel a little bit sorry for for Newport, because we're going to put out a seriously strong team for that game because of players returning from injury. Protosaurus Rex, you're saying most countries have a 6-month threshold to be a resident for tax purposes. So as there is no income tax in Saudi, no justice. No justice. Reminds me of, what's it, Vernon Dudley in Harry Potter when he goes, oh, justice. Don't know why I got that in my head. I'll tell you why. Sometimes I listen to Harry Potter audiobooks. Love a bit of Harry Potter, me. Can't deny. I don't know. I hope you just get some mega tax bills. It's such. Yeah. You made your bed, you've gone over there, and then you go, oh, actually, I don't like it. Bayern, of course, will start against Newport. Quite a few of you mentioned that in the comments. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that game. I am. Now, yesterday, I did a video. Funny that. I do one every day. I did a video on. It was kind of a summary of what Ratcliffe has done so far, as much as he can. Truth be told, he can't tell us exactly what we want to hear, because he's restricted by the laws that govern the stock market. Until he has that ownership on paper, when the fit and proper Premier League test is completed, is when he can come out with the actual vision, overall plan. But the reason I did that video yesterday is because I know that there's going to be people saying, oh, it's just nothing but PR, because people love that. Because I don't know whether it's just Goldbridge that's coined the phrase spin, 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 or whether he's just one of the prominent people who say it, and it's just kind of taken somewhere else. But the people, when they see news that they don't like, it's PR. It's spin, spin, spin. When they see something that they do like, then it's news. Then it's a story we'll talk about, which is a bit of a strange thing. But I kind of, Glenn, it's pretty much a really good comment there. Pretty much really good comment. It's a really weird thing. Glenn's saying, look, kind of all that Ratcliffe can do at this moment in time is PR, which is right to a certain degree. But Jim Ratcliffe didn't need to sit down with the staff at Old Trafford and sort of explain his vision to them. He basically has kind of, from an internal perspective, told everybody, maybe not in numbers and dates and terms, but he's sat down with the Old Trafford staff. He's talked to Ten Hag. He's talked to, I think, the women's team. I'm not sure whether he's talked to the first team players yet. I think they were shaking the hand of Haaland, so they might have just briefly met in the gym rather than anything else. And he's also sat down with Man United fan representatives. He's also spoke to the fans advisory board and the fans forum, and he spoke to the mayor of Manchester about INEOS's plans. Like, he's creating an accountability with his visibility. That was the Glazers' greatest power play. They just disappeared. They just, what? Like, you can't have a go at someone if you can't see them. They don't have to listen to you if they're not in front of you. And that's what made the Glazers so frustrating and annoying. I like all the early noises from Ratcliffe. And yes, I know I'm an eternal optimist. And yes, I know I've been burned plenty of times. And yes, I know I've compromised to come to this situation with the Ratcliffe deal. But there was compromise everywhere. There was not one solution that came forward from the strategic investment alternatives that didn't require some compromise. I honestly think it's not a case of thinking. He's had more face-to-face meetings with Man United fan representatives than the Glazers ever did. He's had more, and he hasn't even taken over yet. That's just, it was a low bar, right? It was a real low bar. He didn't have to do much to beat what existed before him. But he's very much aware of that. And I think that awareness is something that I'm really liking. Because I set it on my to-do list for Ratcliffe. Number one was communication. And pretty much all he's done right now is communicate with the staff, with Ten Hag, with the Man United fan representatives, with the fans advisory board, with the fans forum, and with the mayor of Manchester. He can see that. And that in itself is a good sign. Of course, actions speak louder than words, and I can't wait. I'm going to ask this in the comments, actually, right? Predictions time. When Ratcliffe does get the fit and proper owners test completed, and he officially owns 25% of Manchester United, what do you think we're going to hear? And how do you think we're going to hear it? Do you think there'll be an interview with Jim Ratcliffe going on Manchester United's web? What would you expect us to hear? Because Jim Ratcliffe has pretty much confirmed already that he'll give the press the opportunity to question and quiz him. So you might well get a, you know how Eric Ten Hag did it in the preseason this season and the preseason the season before, actually. He gave the press the opportunity. I think it was like everyone came for like an hour, 2-hour chat, and everybody was able to ask their questions and go off and write their articles as a consequence. I imagine that happens, which is a good thing, because the journalists will ask the sorts of questions that if Jim Ratcliffe does a club interview, the club interview will only go so far, right? The club interview might not ask awkward questions that journalists would. Journalists are far more likely to ask questions that us fans would want to be asked than the club would itself. The club would be like, great to have you here. You've been a boyhood fan. What do you want Manchester United to become? They'll ask like the top level PR. They're kind of the PR ones. I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying and what you think might come out information wise. We've got Andrew, you think there'll be an MUTV interview? And Carl, you think the same thing? Miles, you think there'll be an interview, a press conference? Wayne, you think there'll be an interview with Jim Ratcliffe, Brailsford and Blanc? I imagine that. That's the sort of content that I would dream of in a positive sense. Actually hearing from the powers that be that are controlling our club, and this is what we're going to do. Like, no guesswork. And it's not guesswork, it's accountability. It's creating a plan where, right, well, you said you were going to do this by this date. Have you done it? Yes or no? Well, let's talk about it. Interview on Sky Sports, says Stephen. Media meeting and a United statement. And you think a selective press conference, but with later dedicated interviews, perhaps with the Athletic, maybe. Yeah. It's probably the most interesting 6 months ahead of us as a club and as a channel here than I think we've kind of ever had. And I don't mean to say that from a hyperbole perspective. Like, we have waited since November last year for change like this. And it's really going to come in at the start of Feb. And everything that we have seen so far suggests that there's going to be not complete transparency. That's just not possible or expected. But a significantly more transparency than the Glazers ever had. Jim Ratcliffe is willing to put his face to it, as will the rest of the staff. Mate, someone's mentioning Piers Morgan down there. As if. Come on, people. I think Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS clearly have smart PR people working with them. Piers Morgan? No. You don't need that platform of Piers Morgan. You've got the platform of Manchester United. You don't need to drop yourself to the levels of Piers Morgan, which unfortunately Ronaldo did. Man, that interview, remember that? Garnacho scoring the winner against Fulham on the bus back. Everyone finds that. What is that? Is that Ronaldo talking to Piers? What? And then he released it. He drip fed it over like 4 days. Oh, man. A proper despicable human. Unfortunately, a human that too many people listen to. Oh well. Oh well, indeed. This came out yesterday as well, right? My initial reaction was like, 56? Are you mad? And then maybe I step back a little bit and go, well, it was quite literally a $1 billion company. And they were talking about selling off like part of it and switching the share structure. And that, it must have been complicated. But 56 lawyers, 5 full football teams of lawyers. It just seems like a lot. It just seems like a lot. Any lawyers in the comments, you let me know. But yeah, 56 felt like a lot. And apparently, I think United are going to be fronting the cost of that as well. So sod knows how much that would be. We are talking millions and millions. That's for sure. Dean, you're saying, what about the golf courses, Sam? I'm going to be speaking about Man United's new training ground in about 10, 15 minutes or so. We are going to run through the transfer news, speak about Alvaro Fernandez, speak about Joao Neves, speak about Facundo Pellistri, and we've got Yeni Loro, and we're speaking about De Ligt. We'll run through all of that first, and then we'll talk about the new Carrington, all right? So if you can, drop a like on the video, as always. But let's get into it, because January has been about reducing the size of the squad. January was all about cuts, streamlining, not necessarily clearing the deadwood, because Alvaro Fernandez is far from deadwood. Facundo Pellistri, far from deadwood. Hannibal, not deadwood either. We haven't been able to get rid. Well, we got rid of what I would consider deadwood in Jadon Sancho, but nothing on Anthony Martial, and not really much movement on any other ones though. But here, we've got confirmation that Alvaro Fernandez has joined Benfica on loan until the end of the season. Now, here are some details about it. Oh, actually, no. That's just Alvaro Fernandez wearing his new kit. You know how I don't know why, but anyone remember what Jaws looked like in? Is it Jaws? I swear it's Jaws. No, it's not Jaws. It's what's the name of the villain in the Bond one? Oh, I can never remember his name. He was the one from No Country for Old Men as well. For some reason, Alvaro Fernandez really reminds me of him. Who plays it? No Country for Old Men. Can never remember his name. Javier Bardem. Man, that guy's one of the best villains. For some reason, I see I see Alvaro Fernandez in Javier Bardem a little bit. No idea why. Anyway, right. Let's find out some details about this. Because it's definitely not Odd Job, and I wasn't speaking about Odd Job. Whew. I want to watch Skyfall again now. Might go watch it tomorrow. Great film. Anyway, some details about the Alvaro Fernandez transfer. And no doubt that the top number there is going to annoy people, because there's an option to buy for 6 million euros. And that option becomes an obligation if he plays 50% of games or more between now and the end of the season. 6 million euros. Now, on the surface, this is the thing, right? Akash down there, I agree in the comments. On the surface, that price for Alvaro Fernandez is just ridiculous. It's quite frankly ridiculous. A player who's had a whole season on loan at Preston, a player who has had a loan spell at Granada. I think he only started 5 games, but he's developed. And 6 million euros is way underpriced. Now, this is the however part, right? 2 things. Number 1, having a buyback. And number 2, having a sell-on clause. These are the 2 things, right? Because if Manchester United, and this is, I'm interested to find out what this figure is. If I remember correctly, We sold Hannibal. Well, we've given Sevilla the option to buy Hannibal for 20 million euros, and if he's then sold on afterwards, we will get 20% of that sale. And if we want to buy him back, we buy him back for 35 million euros. I'll be interested to know how much that buyback clause is. If that buyback clause is, I don't know, 15, 20 million euros, and Alvaro Fernandez crushes it for a couple of years and then comes back to the club, I mean, no one's really going to complain about that. And number two, what percentage that sell-on clause is. Because it may well be that United have sold him for cheaper now, but have asked for a bigger percentage on the sell-on. So selling him for 6 million now, but if he's sold on, then we get 35% of the sale, for example, rather than the 20% that we gave for Hannibal. I'll be interested to find out what that percentage is. Alex is saying, don't you only get 20% of profit? No, you get the percentage that you agree with. So, for example, right, Joshua Zirkzee. Is it Zirkzee? I think it is. Yeah, Joshua Zirkzee, right? Let's pull a photo up of him and I'll explain a difference here. In fact, I might be able to get this up from Fabrizio. I read this the other day. Kind of ties into what I'm saying here. 20 mil. Here you go. Look at that. Perfect. Found the information. Exactly what I'm trying to explain here with Alvaro Fernandez. Because this. Zirkzee left Bayern Munich and went to Bologna, but they included a 50% sell-on clause. And Zirkzee has gone on to have a pretty good season at Bologna, and lots of people are linking him with United and linking him with other clubs. But if he was to leave Bologna and go back to Bayern Munich, it would only cost them 20 million because they got that 50% sell-on clause. So if Zirkzee leaves Bologna and joins anywhere else, Bayern Munich are getting 50% of that price. So it can be more than 20%. And this might just be United stepping into a new way, a new thinking process when it comes to selling players, right? It kind of started in the summer-ish. It was a bit of a fire sale. Zidane Bale for $1 million. I'm thinking, what is the point? Charlie Savage about the same. Ethan Laird, I think, about the same. But United shouldn't hoard youngsters because they might break through at some point. Doing these sorts of deals where you sell a player off, but you've got a buyback clause that exists for a few years, and you've got a big sell-on percentage, that means that if he goes on to nail it, you can buy him back for a decent price, like we've got with Hannibal at Sevilla. And if he goes on to be an incredible player and somebody wants to buy him for 100 mil, you get a big percentage back. Exactly what Bayern Munich are doing there with Joshua Zirkzee. Would he be the player he is right now if he didn't go to Bologna? If he had just stayed at Bayern Munich? Maybe. Maybe not. It's a smart thing to do if you have the right buyback clauses and the right sell-on percentages. That's what I would say. And I think Alvaro Fernandez falls into that category as well. I'm going to read a few of your comments out down here. This is just kind of like an opinion. Not everybody will agree with me on this one. Tom, thank you very much, Super Chat, dude. You're saying, do the outgoings of Hannibal and Fernandez suggest some incomings this window, or are outgoings a necessity? It's more the latter, all right? We know full well that our books are just not in order. They really are not. We've been buying players on credit cards. We've been amortizing costs. We owe more than if I'm correct, we owe more than 300 million in unpaid transfer fees to other clubs. We've basically bought players on Klarna, and everyone's sort of like, your loan has to be repaid now. You bought a sofa, it's got like 18 months, interest free. Well, it's starting to come in. Like Man United are paying out a lot for the money that we spent that we haven't actually had. And that's just down to the Glazers hemorrhaging the cash out of the club and spending money that we didn't actually quite have yet. I mean, I wish I could laugh about how United have operated in the transfer market, but it's exactly what's happening. So we need stuff like this to make ourselves more financially sustainable. You might not like it, but it is a reality of how bad our finances are. It really is. And as long as we have the buyback clauses and as long as we have the sell-on percentages, I think this is smart business from United. And I would actually like to see us doing more of it. It's all about cherry picking the absolute best ones like Kobbie Mainoo and bringing them through. But it's not a case of every single youngster is going to come into Manchester United's first team. We had a conversation about this the other day. I think realistically, you can't really expect more than 2, maybe 3 youngsters to break through in any one particular season. I don't think so. And this crop that's coming through, we're going to every single year, there's going to be somebody that you think he could become a star. Every single year now for the next few years. That's what I think anyway. You know what I saw yesterday, which was really weird, right? I don't know why they did this. So this is Benfica's official website, right? And they released this statement. Benfica denies the existence of any right of preference over Joao Neves. Under no circumstances did Benfica enter into talks with Manchester United or any other club about this player, nor do they intend to do so. So any information that points in the other direction is false. I've not really seen any major links with Joao Neves. Is it just me? I've just been ignorant. I've not really. I don't remember seeing clubs doing that really. But Benfica's official website have released a statement saying, no, we're not in talks with Man United over Joao Neves. Well, it's a bit of a weird one. Joao Neves is somebody that you can look at. You can look at and go, wow, I could really see him fitting at United. We ain't getting Joao Neves. And I also don't really think I'm quite transfixed on Man United's next central midfield signing being like an absolute unit. I think United need like a proper unit of a man. I think the idea of bringing Joao Neves, as great as he is, and he is as a progressor from deep, he's kind of got all the hallmarks. I just don't think signing him for north of 100 mil is going to be the smartest way to spend our money in midfield. We need somebody who can like cover ground. That's why I think being a unit and having height will help, because you need to be able to cover so much ground quickly. That's what I think so anyway. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Apparently there's been some links and reports. Maybe, but to the point where a club would come out and deny any sort of truth. It's a weird one. I think so. It's a weird one. Anthony saying, sounds like we might have been tapping him up. Maybe. But they would come more angrily at United for that, wouldn't they? Rather than saying all the news and reports are fake. Don't know. Sam, could you do what's that? Sam, could you go early and do a vid on a midfielder? Hey, dudes and dudettes. Dudettes, that word is made up. We've got lots and lots of video ideas. I can't tell you how good the content is going to become on United People's TV. I'm so excited to take this to the next level. And I hope you can all sort of come on the journey with me. I think you'll really enjoy it. We've got a video coming out very soon on Paul Mitchell in the same series as we've done on Dan Ashworth, Dave Brailsford, and Jean-Claude Blanc. And we've got some other big stuff planned. And the brand new live show software it should be in place by the 1st of February. Woo! We are getting in some good stuff. I'm so excited about this year, honestly. And speaking to James yesterday about it, because I spend a lot of my time in this place. Sometimes I go a bit stir crazy in here. So to step out, go to London, come back, just makes you appreciate it all the more. So big up to all of you. Big up to the man himself. Nuruddin, you have been one of the most generous people ever. Just gifting 20 memberships. So that's 30 of you today now. Nice. 30 of you today who have all been invited to the members only area of Discord, right? Joe is working on new quiz elements on the Discord. We've got the transfer news feed in there, the actual United news feed in there. Q&As are going to be starting soon. I promise. I know I've sort of sold that as a dream and never followed through in it, but now is when I am going to follow through in it. Not follow through in that way, but follow through on the Discord. Not actually on the Discord. You know what I mean. It's getting bigger and better, so make sure you come across. That deserved a double gong, says Skimmy. Well, I'll go for a little cheeky double, little double tickle. Is that a thing? Don't know. It is. And another player who could well be loaned out from Manchester United in January is Facundo Pellistri, right? Got confirmation here from Fabrizio Romano. So we know full well that PSV have inquired about him. We know full well that LA Galaxy are considering making a permanent move for him, and Granada are now following up from Alvaro Fernandez and going towards Facundo Pellistri. Is an interesting one. And my only assumption here is that this falls into a similar sort of category as Hannibal. Hannibal was a player who plenty of you felt was good enough and ready for the first team at Manchester United on the regular and should be starting ahead of other players. Erik ten Hag disagreed. And he's been sent to Sevilla on loan with the option of a permanent deal, and we've got a buyback clause. Because he's at that age where you can't keep Hannibal happy by giving him 5 minutes at the end of a Premier League game. He's not at that stage in his career, and I don't think Facundo Pellistri is at that stage in his career either. I think Facundo Pellistri is at that stage where he wants to be starting every week, and he feels he's good enough to start every week at United. And Erik ten Hag, well, you've got Garnacho coming through now, and Rashford actually finding some goal-scoring form. He's not going to get in ahead of either of those two. So I think that Pellistri going out on loan is very much in the same category as Hannibal, because you can't keep him happy at United with the amount of game time he's going to get. Stephen, you're saying it's a disgrace that Pellistri's hasn't got more game time. The Antony protection has been terrible. Dude, Antony got booted out of the starting 11 for 3-4 games. And it was Garnacho who came in and absolutely dominated it. Antony's been kicked out of the starting 11, but Pellistri has kind of still not got in it. Ten Hag doesn't feel he's ready. Now, Ten Hag might be wrong here, okay? And that's why it's important if he goes out on loan that we have options to sell, that we have buybacks, right? Because it may well be in a year or two time we go, actually, we might have made a mistake there. Let's bring him back. And that's what the buyback clauses do. Pellistri will not be happy at sitting on the bench at United anymore, just like Hannibal wouldn't have been happy. And squad management and squad unity and making sure that the players you have in that team want to be in that team, that's what that falls into. So Ten Hag will probably be looking at Amari Forson and saying, you know what, if I'm going to have a second or third choice, because let's be realistic, Garnacho's probably first choice right winger, Antony's second choice right winger. So what he needs is a third choice right winger. Ahmad, let's even have that conversation too, also being linked with Middlesbrough. That's a strange one. That one is strange. I think there actually is a place for Ahmad. That's what I mean. Everybody just, you can't get upset with every single player. Oh, he's not got an opportunity. Oh, he's not got an opportunity. Oh, he's not got an opportunity. It's about being selective, and that's the difficulties of management, right? Because you can't play every player. Pellistri's better than Antony. Yeah, cool. Well, we didn't spend 85 million on Antony, on Pellistri, did we? So of course, the club is going to try more with Antony. And if you don't understand that, then I just think you're just arguing for the sake of it. And Ahmed has now shown nothing in the Premier. Oh, man, his conversations are exhausting, aren't they? He's shown nothing in the Prem. He deserves more opportunities. Rah, 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 rah. That's the debate of football. Let's just move on to speak about defenders. Talking about the right wing situation at United is something that gets everybody's back up. Everybody's back up. Mine too, I think. Now, this is something we talked about yesterday. Matthijs de Ligt, Florian Plettenberg doubling down on it, saying, look, it's definitely one to watch. And truth be told, I think de Ligt is probably going to be third, maybe kind of fourth choice in that position, in that role. I think so anyway. And this lad here, right? Yenny Loro. I got it wrong. Yenny Loro. Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro. Right. Lenny. This lad is absolutely becoming sort of one of the hot prospects. You know, every year there's a hot prospect that pops through. Everyone's talking about. Yoro is one of those. Believe he's 18. Let me just check that. He is. He's 18. He's broken through into the Lille first team. And oh, no, it's not Lille, is it? Is it Lens? No, it is Lille. My God. Anyway, as you can see, I don't know enough about this lad. But there's so much noise being made about him that I want to. So I'm going to try and source an interview with somebody who's been watching his season so far, the development that he has had, because I think it will be good for us to get some sort of insight into the sort of player he is. Because, as I said, kind of everybody's getting linked with him. Bayern Munich have been linked with him. Real Madrid have been linked with him. Man United have been linked with him. He's being labelled the new Rafa Varane. If you get to watch videos of him, he's kind of a strange, like an oddly lanky shape, yet still being really quite athletic. It's an impressive combination, really. So I'm going to try and find and source an interview so we can find out a bit more information on him. As you can see down there, Florian Plettenberg saying that there are 4 defensive targets down here. Orejo, which we spoke about yesterday from Barcelona, he's going to cost too much. I think just dash that off. De Ligt, I think a couple of years ago, yeah, it would have been a conversation. I think for us to sign him now, hey, look, he's only 24, I think, still. He's still got his career ahead of him. He could be incredible. But is he the best choice? That's what we need to look at this summer. Antonio Silva, you're probably going to look around about the same, maybe not the same price. Actually, no, it is Benfica. He would cost a lot. Yoro's name is down there now. You haven't even got Todibo on that list. You haven't even got Branthwaite on that list. I've said this to you before, and I will say it again. I'll repeat it. Man United will not struggle to sign a top-class centre-back this summer. For some reason, there is an absolute abundance. Timing-wise, it might work perfectly for United because there is a real opportunity that we could get 2 of them. If we shift Maguire on, Varane leaves, and Johnny Evans, his contract expires, I could see United giving him another year extension, and then Johnny Evans actually holding that position as our 3rd choice next season, which is what he should have been this season, but then injuries took over. I could really see United signing 2 centre-backs. And then you look at this list there, Orejo, De Ligt. There's not even any point in having Orejo. That there is, I would scrap that name. De Ligt would be part of a conversation. Silva would be part of the conversation. So would Diamande. So would Inacio. So would Yoro. So would Branthwaite. There's a lot. Right? There's a lot of centre-backs, and it's really exciting because I think finally our centre-back problems, I'm not saying our problems are going to be solved next year, but it should be a massive step towards the actual squad that we need. Top Death Angel, I can't see any of these defenders coming if we don't get European football. I mean, it hasn't stopped United before, back in the day, and it depends how exciting the project and the prospect is. But yeah, being in the Champions League makes all conversations easier. Ricky, Sam's scrapping Orejo because he can't pronounce it. Yeah, that partly. No, it's not. He's going to cost easily north of 80 million. And I'll be honest, wouldn't surprise me to see Everton try and charge that for Branthwaite either. I don't know whether they'll have the negotiation power because of FFP and the problems they've got. So you might be able to get a little bit off, but it's going to be a lot. Premier League tax, English tax, right? I would like to think that we get it slightly cheaper. But yeah. Euro's definitely one to watch. And because I haven't watched enough of Ligue 1 this season, I want to interview a journalist out there. I think I spoke to Jonathan Johnson last time. It'd be really good to try and speak to him again because I want to get some insight into him. There's a lot of players that I want to get insight into. Euro, I want to get more insight into Silva as well at Benfica, into Branthwaite at Everton. It's going to be a bit of a series that I do going ahead of the summer, bringing in the right people here so we can speak about them, as well as doing like scouting profiles and stuff, which I already do. But look, last 10 minutes of the show, last 10 minutes of the show, I want to speak about this. It's one of the big talking points, one of the big headline talking points from today. Man United's new training ground. Now, I'm going to do a lunchtime video on this today. I think there's a lot that we can explore from this, and a lot of conversations we can have. So I'll be able to add more detail in the lunchtime video. But on the surface level, let's just go with this. Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail is reporting that United have been holding preliminary talks. This is only tentative. It's preliminary, but holding talks about potential new sites for a new training ground and holding conversations with a golf club in South Manchester about what that could be. And then let's run through the article here. The belief is that the existing site is at maximum capacity, suffers from a shortage of parking space, and that acquiring vast acreage elsewhere might be the best option, which is why they spoke to a golf club. No agreement was reached, but that's a really interesting one. What's your prediction? Right? What's your prediction on what will happen with the training ground? Because 15 years ago or so, Carrington was the elite training ground in English football, and it's not anymore. It's had a £7 million facility added for the women's team. It's had upgrades done. It's had new floodlights. Was it Van Gaal installed all new floodlights? I remember that ages ago. There's been progressive investment inside Carrington, yet it's not anywhere near the likes of this, which is what I'm going to be. This is probably the facility that I'm always going to keep pointing towards when it comes to what I think Man United should be looking at for our new training ground. And this is Leicester's training ground. The architect of this training ground was from McLaren. So from an aesthetic perspective, it's awesome. It really is awesome. But also in the actual practicality of the building, with the full-size training pitch there, do United even have a full-size indoor training pitch? I haven't even thought of that. I've been to Carrington. I don't remember there being one. Is there? Let me try and have a photo of Carrington here. I don't know why that's never even crossed my mind. Carrington training ground. There might be. I'm not saying there isn't, but I just don't remember seeing one. Let's have a look. See if we can get a top-down view. Where is it there? Is that it there? I think that's it there. Maybe not full sight. Is there something inside there? Anyway, this is what I mean. This is why it's going to be an interesting it's going to be an interesting video to do at lunchtime today. You know, so the article here, it says suffers from a shortage of parking space. We see that's the car park there and over there for Carrington currently. A little zoom in on the car park. How boring. We go over here to look at over here. It's just nice. It's new. The contrast of this, like, this is Manchester United. It's basically like, it's like a wicked school field, isn't it? Yeah, I think Carrington does, and you're right. Carrington does have some sort of indoor facilities, because let me just pull this up. Actually, I remember this. Let's call it a video to pull up. Actually, anybody remember this video that went out on United People's TV years ago? I love this video. Mate, Fred was really cool. So this was recorded and filmed inside that facility. So this is inside Man United's training ground. It's not a full-size pitch, but it's some sort of indoor facility. But yeah, comparing this to Leicester's, it's kind of night and day. Ivan, it looks like my farm was my uncle's farming land in Donegal. That's the wheat down there. There's the maize over there. We've got barley growing here. Got some hops. That's funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. So I'm going to do my lunchtime video on this because I think it's a really interesting. I've said this to you before. I genuinely think it's more important for Manchester United to build a new training ground than it is to redevelop and renovate Old Trafford. I think a new training ground comes first. Like, players spend 80-90% of their time on the training ground. That's where you need to improve first, in my opinion. And United are already starting these conversations. So what my lunchtime video today is going to offer a lot more detail insight into this. I'm going to run through the whole article, pull out key points, the people who were involved in actually getting this organized from United and within, and what Brailsford said, blah, blah, blah. Lots and lots and lots to discuss about it. And I think that's why I'm going to do it at lunchtime video. The DP down there saying, yep, nobody's ever said dudettes before. Well, there you go. Dudettes. It's a thing now. Last couple of minutes of the show, fire in your questions. Anything that I haven't sort of talked about or you want me to say more on, you can let me know. Yeah. I'm interested to see. I still get this. My spidey senses are telling me that there will be some sort of signing by United before the end of January. Some sort of emergency stopgap loan. I don't know who. You know, another one here, right? Inter Milan are so bloody good at these. Again, could have pulled this one up first. There you go. I already had him down as an option for this January, but Inter Milan have got in there straight away and they've agreed to sign Taremi as a free agent in July. So presumably, I actually didn't realize he was at the Asian Cup. Well, he wouldn't have come in January anyway. But Inter Milan have got a bit of a who's who. They got Marcus Thuram on a free. They're going to get Taremi on a free. Fair play to him. But yeah, he's not on the cards. Benzema, I think, is kind of hot air. Thomas Muller has felt like really nothing but hot air. Choupo-Moting might have some legs. Yeah, they're like, however old he is, 36. Sod knows. And Guirassy, I never really felt was going to be a logical option because we had to buy him. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know whether Ben Yedder's at the AFCON. Also, I still think there'll be a late move from United in the window to try and get someone in on loan, and I hope it will be someone that can help us between now and the end of the season. but it's not going to be someone that you go and get on the back of your shirt. It's not going to be someone who really gets you that excited, but somebody who might do a job. Another Weghorst. That's probably the best that we can hope for. All right. Stephen, you're saying Joe Hugel going out on loan makes me think we've got something in the pipeline. If we have, United have kept it very quiet so far. And you know it'll be wicked. Out of nowhere, Fabrizio Romano saying exclusive. Man United have agreed terms with X. He'll fly tomorrow to complete his medical. Boom, out of nowhere. Everyone's favourite type of signings. No fuss, no nonsense, just straight in. That'd be nice. Danny Welbeck. Oh. I'd 100% take Danny Welbeck now. I would take him back for 6 months. I don't think he's going anywhere. But look, thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you can, please do drop a like on it. My lunchtime video today is going to be a far more detailed video on the new Carrington. What do we know? What can we look at for inspiration and examples? Who's involved in building it? What stage is it at? Where could it be? They're the questions I'm going to answer. All right. So big up to all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy my lunchtime video today, and I'll be back here tomorrow morning. As always, take it easy.